Price. Something's wrong in Verdansk. They're targeting their own.
No more treaties, no more diplomacy. These weapons will no longer lie dormant.
So we are about a month away from Verdansk actually releasing, and a lot of things have been on my mind on whether or not this is going to be the best iteration of Verdansk or the worst. Because we've had, in total, 3 versions already, and this will be number 4. So, I don't know if you will call this Warzone 5 or 4 or whatever, but I'm hoping that there's a lot of changes to the game, while also bringing back some things that we don't have anymore. And I'm going to talk about it pretty in depth, but I want to put some footage of the old Verdansk while I talk about it, because I think it's important to look back on what we had and actually discuss how different the game's going to play. Because it's not going to be the same Verdansk that we had back in 2019, 2020, even 2021. This is going to be a hyped up version of the mobile version. And a lot of people are going to be disappointed. But let's talk about the things that we need and the things that will be missing. To start off strong, I want to say Verdansk will play a lot better probably with Omni movement. You know, there are things that we didn't get in that game. A lot of buildings that only had one staircase up, and later they added zip lines to those buildings, but there was still plenty that only had one staircase. So you could only have one way in. And sure, there were jump spots and there were drop down spots into windows that you could pull off and make insane plays and catch enemies off guard. But they felt good to achieve. Now we have zip lines that you could just throw down and bring with you. We have higher mantlings. We have all these things that will help traverse different buildings. And I don't know if that's going to help or hurt. My reasoning is there's a lot of players that weren't the best players. There were a lot of players that came to Verdansk and it was their first battle royale or their first Call of Duty in general. And if you're going to jump in and play for the first time, I'd hate to say it, but there was a need for safe spaces in Call of Duty. My whole community at one point loved sniping. Sniping was one of those things that everybody could do. The big thing about sniping in that game is that you had power positions like the top of buildings in downtown or ATC tower at airport, where you can just hold down a building and sit all game. Now, that's not enjoyable to me, but it's enjoyable to some of you. That might be gone because now we have these zip lines. And I'm going to come at this whole video, just so you know, as a gamer and not as a streamer or a YouTuber. One, I almost never stream anymore. But two, I just see how the game could 100% go towards a content creator's, you know, decisions and not towards a gamer's decisions. So I want to be very upfront that I'm going to try to take a back seat on the things that I want and look at it from a view of what other people could want. When Modern Warfare 19 launched, everybody was playing it. It was a game that was very popular. It revived the Modern Warfare franchise, and it brought a lot of players back to Call of Duty. But that also meant that when Verdansk did drop, it was a big surprise because there was no announcement until the week of. I actually think it was like the day before there was a trailer. And with that being said, a lot of players already had their guns leveled up. So when you jumped in to this battle royale, if you were a COD player, you had everything you needed. You had the guns. That's not the case anymore. When Verdansk drops this time, sure, a lot of people are going to have their Black Ops guns leveled up. But a lot of players have left. The player count in Call of Duty is down abysmal. On Steam, on PlayStation, on Xbox, on Game Pass, on Battle.net, you name it, a lot of players have left. And so that means a lot of people don't have the guns leveled up. So they're going to come into this and feel like they have nothing. Now, some of them might only be in low skill-based matchmaking and that not bother them. But I have plenty of friends who left the game back in Modern Warfare 2. And they don't have a single gun leveled up from Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, or Black Ops 6. And those are the guns that we are going to be using in Verdansk. Sure, there's going to be new weapons that are added, and sure, there's going to be DLC that we're, you know, expecting. But those weapons are going to be the tools you need when jumping into Verdansk. If they're gone and they come back and they have nothing, the experience already is ruined. And Call of Duty's not going to give them a break just because they left for 3 games. They're going to be in the same skill-based matchmaking because the way it works is everyone's using an Activision ID that's existed since MW19. So you're talking almost 7 years ago. Players are going to be using the same skill-based matchmaking. It's just not going to be a good experience. Personally, I think they need to get rid of the need to level guns. I think camos are a great trade-off for Battle Royale. And having our first iteration of camos into Warzone this year was a great add-on. If you guys don't know, you can get custom camos for getting kills and doing certain challenges in Battle Royale or Plunder. That's a cool thing. But that's all you should have to do. You shouldn't have to level 40 times for some of these guns to play in Battle Royale, to use the latest meta. You should be able to grab whatever gun you want, put on any attachment you want, and show off your camo because you play the game a lot. So that's number 1 for me. Number 2, traversing the map is going to feel so different. You see, we've had MW19 Verdansk. Then we've had Cold War Verdansk. Then we had Warzone Mobile Verdansk, which released last year. And now we're going on to the new version of Verdansk. Now, in MW19 and Cold War, there were vehicles that were great. Sure, some of them were overpowered, like the Bertha. But for the most part, there were great vehicles to always use. We're getting rid of that. Because in MW2, they absolutely destroyed using vehicles. There was just no good way of traversing the map. There was no zip lines. There was no good vehicles. And you couldn't even sprint and put a plate in at the same time. In MW3, they changed a lot of that, and they added zip lines, and they added the ability to sprint and put on plates mid Modern Warfare 2 because they got so much backlash. But the vehicles stayed being bad. Now, in our latest version of Warzone in Uzbekistan or Urzikstan, whatever you call it, yes, there are better vehicles, but most of them are still bad. The best one we have is the dune buggy, which gives you no cover. Then you have the like SUV type one, but it's pretty slow. So the best way to traverse in the map still is using the redeploy balloons or the redeploy drones. That ruins the whole flow of Verdansk, because Verdansk is known for some of its best map knowledge. Understanding the buildings, understanding the circles, understanding where the hills are in the sight lines. There are some great spots. And by adding zip lines, it's going to ruin that flow. Now, as a content creator, I love zip lines. But as a gamer, it makes the map way too fast. And I hate saying that, but it's really the truth. Listen, in Verdansk, I was dropping 30s and almost 40s. And I was not the best player. I was good. It took me a lot of practice. But right now, we have 120 players in Uzbekistan. I still drop 30s. I haven't gotten a 40, but I still drop 30s. If I'm able to still drop 30s with all this movement and we don't have good vehicles and less players, it goes to show when Verdansk drops, if they have 120 players, it's going to go about the same. But we want 150. We want the map to feel occupied. And I don't want the game to feel like a glorified team deathmatch where we have redeploy flares, we have repurchasable gulag tokens, we have redeploy tokens. We have so many ways to get brought back. Now, I just did a video where we did no buy station challenge, and we can only get each other back using most wanted. Me and Expel got each other back almost every single time. There was not a game where we couldn't get the other player back. If we died, it was usually because we both died at the same time. So for them to now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to get brought back, it just doesn't seem like a skillful match. We're more so playing a glorified team deathmatch or Resurgence. And that was my biggest complaint with Rebirth Island. I don't like Rebirth. I'm sure a lot of you love it. But for me, I don't like team deathmatch. I like Battle Royale. I like Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, which gives you that same feeling of a Battle Royale. The last man standing. Search and Destroy. So for Battle Royale to lose that aspect, that feeling of understanding the map and having map knowledge, understanding circle rotations, and then having a glorified team deathmatch, it's not going to be the same experience. You're going to have guys flying out of the air at all times, landing on you, and you're not going to have this feeling of, you know, ooh, there's this pressure of I need to win this match. No, it's going to feel like, all right, I died again. Get me back. I died again. Get me back. You're going to die 15 times and still win with 20 kills. That's not the best experience in a Battle Royale. That's team deathmatch. Also, there's going to be map changes. We already know that from a leak from Hope that there's going to be the map Fringe from Black Ops 3. Now, I'm all for changing the map here and there, but we don't know how that's going to play out. We have to be honest with ourselves that the nostalgia for Verdansk is not going to be the same. There will be redeploy balloons. There will be Omni movement. There possibly could be wall running. We don't know. Call of Duty tends to just pull things out of their ass and throw it at the wall and hope it sticks. And skill-based matchmaking, sure, we'll make most of the sweat stay in one spot. But we all know there's ways of circumventing that, whether that's two-boxing, VPNs, or whatnot. And anybody that plays at a casual level is not going to have an enjoyable experience. The rose-tinted glasses are off right now. And I'm just trying to look at Verdansk and say, I hope this experience is good. Let's look at Black Ops 6. The experience with Resurgence has been horrific. There's been minimal changes to this map since last Call of Duty. Audio has gotten worse. So much so that I've had to actually make my own audio app to improve it for people. Which, yes, it's free, and yes, there's premium versions. You can get the audio app very easily and use it even on console if you have a PC and a capture card or even remote play. But that doesn't mean that the game should require that. Call of Duty sells their own audio in-game to improve the audio. You should know when they have to sell their own audio to improve the audio, there is something wrong. And yet they still get nominated for Best Audio. The Urzagistan map has absolutely no character, has zero changes other than opening bunkers, and then as soon as they open those bunkers, they closed those bunkers and reverted all changes for Black Ops 6 to release. It doesn't feel good. And the closest thing we have to a challenge is by adding a ranked mode, which is just the regular skill-based matchmaking, but they put ranked on it. Why not have the regular Call of Duty have no skill-based matchmaking and only have it in ranked, like any other game out there? That way, when you see a gameplay, you go, well, that's a normal gameplay. I want to see ranked. Make it feel like it's earning something. Because you might as well just play the regular game modes. To me, Verdansk could be a great release. But if they're going to do half of the things they've done with Urzagistan, like releasing full patch notes of 60 different changes, and none of the bugs that they listed are actually fixed, we're going to have a problem. And I've heard rumbles that this is due to a lot of the QA testers and a lot of devs using AI in their everyday, work because they're lazy. A lot of these guys, they know how to do it, but they're being forced to do it faster. So they're utilizing AI, and, you could call it lazy like I just did. Maybe a little bit of that is, unfair because they're being forced to do more in less time. But now, I want to take a moment and say, Verdansk has been in the works since the release of Caldera. They have been thinking about how they want to re-release this. When Modern Warfare 2 came out, the mobile version of Verdansk began to go into test runs in different countries. Now, if you know anything about Warzone right now, it's that it's a glorified mobile game. The whole game has the same layout as mobile. That's why the buy stations changed. That's why the mechanics have changed. They want it to be just like mobile. And you can level your guns and everything else in mobile, or you could do it on the regular Battle Royale. Now, that was all to get the player count up. But because of that, now we have a game that just doesn't play right. And so when they fix a bug, they're also keeping in mind they have to fix that bug in mobile. They have to add that new gun in mobile. They need to change the buy station in mobile. Every change is thought about, well, what does it do to the mobile version? And Verdansk has been changing over and over and over in the mobile version. So the version we're going to get is going to be that mobile version. In the winter, we'll have a snowy map of Verdansk. That's awesome. That's all. I've wanted that for so long. But we've seen it on mobile. We're going to get a mobile game. We're going to get the new movement. Or we're going to get a mobile game with bad sound, bad graphics, unoptimized mess. And I'm scared. I want this game to be good. I want my old friends to come back. But everybody's quit. And even when I mention, hey, Verdansk is coming back to my friends, they're not hopeful. They've seen what's happened in the last 3 years. They've seen how Call of Duty's constantly disrespected them. They won't even be willing to buy Call of Duty anymore. If it's on the Game Pass, sure, they might play it. But that's it. They're not willing. And I think Call of Duty's got a real problem here. Because there's horrible, horrible gaps throughout this map of Verdansk. I just don't know how they're going to do it. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that I'm pleasantly surprised that they took priority on this, that they've been working on it day in and day out. But what I really think is they've been working on the mobile version, and then the devs have to make the changes in the new version. It's sad to say. Also, the gunplay is just different. We're talking about IW8 in Modern Warfare 19, and now the new IW9 in Black Ops 6. Everything is based on IW9. And anytime they make a change, they got to really look at how it affects all of the Call of Duties. We have this new COD HQ app, which makes it impossible to do anything fun. If any of your friends want to go switch to another Call of Duty, it is 100 gigabyte download. And you still have to have the COD HQ downloaded, which is 100 gigabytes. And then you download Warzone, which is another 60 gigabytes. If you want to play any of those games, you have to have the COD HQ. They're going to come in with no guns. They're going to need all the old games to have the new guns. It's just not going to be a fun experience. Also, let's say you want to circumvent all that and you want to play mobile to level your guns. It's a good option. But in order to unlock a lot of the guns, you'll need armory unlocks. Warzone Mobile does not have armory unlocks. So you'll need Modern Warfare 3. Well, yeah, sure, get Modern Warfare 3. Now you can do your armory unlocks. But you still need Black Ops 6 to do all of the Black Ops 6 guns. Unless you do them on mobile. It causes you to have all these different versions of the game. Now you might say to me, well, I'll just level everything in Plunder. You can't unlock everything in Plunder. It's a real toss-up. They don't know what they're doing. There's no optimized way of unlocking all of the guns anymore. Because every game is different. In Modern Warfare 2, you needed to level certain guns to unlock other guns. In Modern Warfare 3, you had the armory unlocks. You have blueprints and different versions of the guns that you could only get with the armory unlocks. So if you wanted to change your gun, because there's different versions, sometimes you can take a shotgun and turn it into a sniper. You need that armory unlock. Can't do that in any other version of Call of Duty except for Modern Warfare 3. Omni movement's going to make Verdansk run faster. Balloons are going to make Verdansk run faster. But is it going to lose the identity that Verdansk had? That feeling that it is like a giant match of search and destroy. Because yes, the buy stations, you could buy your teammates back, but your friends still had to take a risk to run to that buy station out in the open and make that purchase. I don't know if that same flair is going to be there. I guess we'll have to see. But you let me know down in the comments section if you think Verdansk is going to be able to pull off the revival of Call of Duty's Warzone. Or do you think this could be the death of it? Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.